All right. To honor a father. Hans, I got to tell you something.
No, it can't be. You're only 4 years older than me. You got the reference? I am your father.
You guys see the level of humor I have to put up with every morning.
He's graced with and
Hans, I
doesn't
got to tell you
appreciate.
something. The world has daddy issues.
The world has daddy
The
issues.
world has daddy issues. I don't think that statement has ever been more true than it is today. Now, I joke about it, but I think increasingly the world is rising up or raging against fathers. The patriarchy, masculinity.
Absent fathers.
You know, I think Trump is a symbol for many people and many Americans of, you know, if they had a father who was too aggressive, too dominating, too, you know, whatever the things Trump is, then he's a good stand-in for that. Your beard looks great, by the way, Hans.
Thank you.
Yeah. Just play with it some more.
Do what you have to do, man.
You're annoying the fuck out of me this morning. So, to honor a father, what I want to say is, you know, if you guys out there, if you feel like, you know, Father's Day is coming up, fuck, I hate my father, I don't like my father, I don't want to honor my father, or my stepfather, or grandfather, or, I just want to say that in addition to there's this idea, it's in the Bible, it's maybe cultural, that we should honor our parents, or honor thy father and thy mother. Like, aside from that, there's so much growth, healing, power, personal power, transformation available in doing the work to honor your father.
Here's a powerful statement. You're afraid now, but you're going to like it. There's a lot of shadow work happening. People are doing shadow work when they say they try to come to terms with the darker side of them. I think one of the biggest ways you can start doing shadow work is by honoring your father. Really come to terms, recognize, and honor your father.
And when you say shadow work, you mean what?
There was well, you know Jung, right? The psychologist.
Mm-hmm. Carl Jung.
Yes. And so I've seen in the last couple of years, there's like a revival where people come, where people say, or coaches, it's not just like positive thinking, and it's an important part of becoming whole is really deal with our darker side.
Yes.
And I do think it's powerful work. And when I talk about seduction, I also talk about the acknowledging that darker side. And so you see shadow work is coming to terms with the part of you don't like.
Right, the part of you that you judge.
The part of you that you judge.
And if you're judging your father, if you have I would say also, if you have big judgments about Donald Trump, who is a stand-in for, you know, he's the head of the country, so he's like that asshole father.
That's so great.
If you have big judgments towards Donald Trump, the likelihood is very strong that you, my friend, have daddy issues. No, you have judgments towards, I would say, masculinity.
Wow.
And that there is evolution, growth, healing available in doing the honor work around whatever that strong masculine or patriarchal figure in your life is that you have judgments towards, that you have, I'm not talking about, you know, just intellectual assessments or judgments, but I'm talking about like a real looking down upon, being in judgment of, like morally, emotionally judging.
I just think it's brilliant. I really think it's brilliant to say that. If you have judgments towards Trump, honor thy father.
Yes. I'm serious. Yeah. And not everyone's father expressed their masculinity like Donald Trump. You know, your father could have been very different, but this is a fundamental relationship in your life. You know, whoever embodied that father role for you in your life, if you have difficult judgments there, and if you are a man or a young man, you are going to have great difficulty becoming a full version of a man, and the man that you would like to be. You may not want to be anything like your father, but living with those harsh judgments of your father, it's going to be very, very, very difficult for you to become the fullest expression of the man that you would like to be. You're going to find it very difficult. So, leading up to Father's Day here in about 12 days, we're going to be gathering inside of a Facebook group. You can check the link after this Facebook Live for an invitation to the Facebook group.
Underneath.
And yeah, if you're interested, men or women, we invite you to join. And we will have some conversations. We will offer some work, some for honoring the father. And for those of you who don't have, you feel like, well, I don't really have judgments towards my father, but if you're estranged from him or he's not really so welcome in your life, or you don't really feel like, you know, if there's some distance, doing the work of honoring father can still be incredibly great. And even if you have a good relationship with your father, doing the work to honor your father, like it's not comfortable to honor someone.
Yes.
And so we often don't really honor people the way that we could until we go to their funeral. And so the invitation I have is to everyone to join us in this Facebook group, and to engage at the very least with the honor letter work. Like, imagine being able to give to your father a letter that could make him weep, a letter that he will cherish, a letter that will have him feel seen, like maybe no one else sees him in the world.
I would even say, like, hey, this is more than for your father. This is great work for you. Like we said, the shadow work. But also, like, if you don't feel like honoring your father, this is for you.
Yes.
It's a great way to, well, I'm saying as if I went through it, but I didn't, but I know the honor work. But it's a great way to come to terms, to start recognizing your own judgments, and where you don't see them before. It's a great way to come to terms. It's a great way to revitalize also your view of your own father. If you're indifferent or if you feel bad about it, you know, you'll find a way to feel good about it. And then the relationship with him, I'm imagining, if it's anywhere near the other honor work, and I assume it is, you know, that relationship can be completely revitalized. It's
yes, and for, you know, women who've gone through a divorce or going through a divorce, and you have children with this man, you could also do the work of honoring their father, your children's father. It could be a great thing for your children and for their future, and for your shared parenting, for the family as a whole. There are other fathers in your life who you could honor. And if your father's passed away, if he's no longer living and you feel like you've missed the opportunity to honor him, this is still very, very much something powerful and beautiful to do. You can honor him in death. You can honor him in front of your people. In fact, you could, on Father's Day, you could let the world know who your father was in a way of honoring. So,
or if you, like you said, if you feel judgments towards Trump, this exercise will help you make America great again.
Well, you know, I can't say that we're not gonna do the full honor window work. So if you have major judgments about Trump or or about your father, this is not going to be the fullest extent of the work I would recommend going through, but this will still be great to go through.
Here's the process is this. What I realize is I'm the prisoner of my own judgments. Judgments towards someone feel very right, and short term they feel good in a way, but long term they're detrimental for the relationship and for yourself. I saw that I'm the prisoner of my own judgments, and the moment I see my own judgments of someone and I can start breaking down these walls with the honor work, it's an incredible relief. It's a relief because your judgments go towards like honor. Honor becomes the navigating tool instead of the judgment, and it's an incredible release for yourself. It's like a burden falls off your shoulder, and you feel very powerful in relationships.
Yes. And it's, some people will say, well, I've forgiven my father. Well, this is not forgiveness. This is something different. So maybe you've had the conflict with your father and you've forgiven your father. You feel like I've gone to some kind of workshop, or I've worked through this with a psychiatrist, or, whatever, psychologist, and that, I don't want to have to deal with that again. Like I did it, I would still invite you. You can't do the honoring too much. And the more that you honor someone, Hans, the more you feel honor yourself, the more honor you get for yourself.
Yes.
The more you honor another.
I think this is work for you first and foremost. It's work for yourself. And
yes. Well, that could be the biggest reason to do it.
Yes.
But for some people, it could actually be the call to honor their father, alive or in death.
So give the details again.
Join the Facebook group. One of the things that we'll do together is we'll walk through the writing of an honor letter in a way that can really touch his heart, that might not be so obvious at first. And you could use that honor letter as something that you give to him, something you share with the world, something you put into an audio message and send to him, something that you do on video. Or once you're really present to it, just have this conversation with him in person. But the great thing about a letter is that he can keep it.
Yes. Also, it's
and if it's a physical thing, even better.
Yeah,
because
that's what I'm going to do.
Because he could put it in his secret drawer, and every once in a while he can open it up and read it again, and be moved to tears again, and feel
I'll do that, because to me, like, my family display of affection was not very big, he never really said I love you, but I always want to do it, and I think a letter is great. Put it in a letter and give it to him. So many reasons, that's a great solution.
Yes. So imagine you had to, a lot of times we don't really honor someone until they're dead, Hans. We go to their funeral, and when we're alive, we have these natural conflicts. You might see them again, or maybe you have to defend yourself from them on some level, or these things. But once they're dead, you don't have to protect yourself from their ego anymore, or whatever. And you show up and they're gone. They'll never be there again.
Yes.
And then a lot of people don't really come around to honoring someone until they're already gone.
What a great service that would be, the living funeral, where you can honor someone. Everyone comes together as if the person is dead. You honor them.
Yes.
What a great thing. It actually exists. But this is a great thing to do with your father, I think. I'm very excited. Where do I sign up, Michael Skye?
Yeah, so, and then, and there's nothing I'm selling here, by the way. So those of you who know me from my honor work, and, maybe you've attended events of mine, this is not something I'm charging for. So join the Honoring Fathers Facebook group, and we'll gather and we'll do some of these, do some of this work together.
You sure you're not sponsored by the Republican Trump?
Trump 2020.
With the elections coming up.
Yes. No, it's there are many things here. A woman who, for example, Hans, has judgments with her father it can affect not only who she chooses to father her children, but then how that relationship goes.
Mm-hmm.
And it can also affect her sons and her daughters and who they grow up to be. And we can think that, well, I'm going to raise my son not to be like his father because his father was an a-hole, and but if we have judgments about his father or our father, then what's going to be transmitted to the son is a kind of a warped invitation to be a man. There's not going to be a holistic, a whole invitation to manhood. It's going to be, even if we're trying to do it like go away from the bad and go towards the good, he's gonna have difficulty becoming that full expression of a man.
Yeah, to honor is to incorporate the bad and still stand in a certain way that's constructive for all parties involved. So there's no running away or ignoring, denying or judging of the bad. It's an incorporation of that, and it's essential.
Yeah, this doesn't mean, by the way, that you have to invite your father into your life, or that if he was abusive or whatever, that you have to forgive that or accept that or agree with that. It's about none of that. Mm-hmm. We don't really have a culture of honor for the most part, Hans. And you think of something like the Bible. It's one of the 10 Commandments. Like there is the Israelites and Moses. They came up with just 10 things. Okay, there were many things they had about religious laws and things like this, but they put that as one of the key 10 things, like don't kill, don't all these other things, and honor thy father and thy mother. Mm. And it's interesting. I heard someone talking about this on YouTube the other day, and he said it doesn't say love your father and your mother. It doesn't say like your father and your mother. It says honor thy father and thy mother.
Yeah, it's like finding peace in that, finding peace with that. Because you say it could influence but it does influence your relationships. It's one of the most influential parts of your life.
Yes.
And so to find a place to stand in all that, that's what the honoring is. It's not the liking or the loving. It's finding a place to stand that's peaceful and that gives you some kind of strength.
Gives you honor.
Yeah. Gives you honor.
Yeah, well, let's talk for a moment about the, young men who, have judgments towards their father. A lot of these men will have difficulty with other men, will have difficulty with brotherhood. Mm-hmm. They'll have difficulty becoming oftentimes a successful man, or a man who really feels he's in his power, really feels like he's at home in his body, in his masculinity. So yeah, the opportunity here in honoring your father, or it could be another father figure that you have real issues with. It could be an older brother. It could be an uncle. It could be a cousin. It could be a grandfather. It could be a stepfather. So, yeah, and you don't have to choose just one. Like you could do the honoring of multiple fathers in your world. The father of if you're a woman, the father of your children, your own father, your grandfather, your brothers who are fathers to their children, and the work can be miraculous.
Yes. It's with Father's Day coming up, a great gift for both your father and yourself.
And yourself. Give yourself the gift of honor. It's as we see the protests playing out in the States against police brutality and the police force and Trump, and it's kind of against authoritarianism. It's against this kind of strong-handed, Trump and the police and these things they're kind of stand-ins for male authority. And there's, across the world, there really is a big confronting, even like you could say white supremacy, you could say, all these things. A lot of this stuff is a relationship to the Father, and for sure there are many people, many men in those roles who have abused, who have not.
It's not about is that right or wrong. It's finding for you a place to stand to face that. To find a place of peace facing that. And because when you think, oh, it's wrong, and you're in judgment, you're not in your power. So it's in a place to stand, not agreeing with it, not saying, oh, this is good, or not at all, but finding a place to stand for you to be powerful when you're facing all that. And with your Father, or anything else that stands for that,
Yes. So if you're watching this for the first time, many of these morning episodes, these morning Facebook Lives are put out in a podcast called Ronin Radio. And this is especially for men and young men who often experience themselves without the natural wealth of deep brotherhood, of male mentors, of fathers, or a relationship with father or elders that is really strong and powerful and beautiful. Without a deep connection to your own sacred honor, sacred inner authority, the authority of your heart. We do these Ronin Radio episodes for you. So if that speaks to you, I invite you to subscribe to Ronin Radio and join us in these conversations. Reclaim your honor. Reclaim brotherhood. Reclaim a healthy, powerful relationship with the man you are and can be, with masculinity. And welcome, brother.